10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you are here with us. We're just going to make a little correction here as we get started this morning. And we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca online. So however you want to listen to us, whether it's terrestrial radio or online, we got you covered. And we're also streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. We're also found on demand on those same two platforms. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Mainly comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. We're then found on demand on those same two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News. And also our Sudbury.news website, which is a news aggregator, aggregates all the local news into one convenient location so you don't have to be going all over the internet to find the local news that's going on right here under our noses in our great or greater city of Sudbury. So lots of local stories to cover today. Not sure about maybe we'll string or weave some deep diving in between all of the local news today because there's lots of international news happening that's a lot of people are concerned about, and rightfully so. And we are also, and trying to keep our finger on the pulse of huge happenings in the Middle East with the advent of the war between Iran and Israel. Now the United States getting more involved, and so that is something that we definitely want to keep an eye on, and a lot of people are worried about and what that could escalate into. So we'll weave some of that into our show today. Also, just the local news alone will keep us on our toes. Lots of statistics coming in about crime rates in the greater city of Sudbury. You'll be interested in those. Story from Tyler Clark and Sudbury.com specifically. I'll talk about the headline versus the content and how journalists can use data to skew headlines for people, and what he's particularly done with this particular article at this particular time. And that you'll be you'll enjoy that, because you won't enjoy the amount of crime that goes on in this city statistically. And you'll then understand how, if a reporter wants to spin it in a different way, they can. And I'll show you how it's being done. So this is a little lesson in journalism and what you can do with it. On today's show, we talk about that quite a bit, actually, but we'll get into that today. So thanks for being on. We're going to dive right into the show with a little bit of weather, and then we'll come back with news headlines and your comments, and have a great show. We got everything working today as far as I know, so that's also good. All the technology. I spent about an hour last night, figured out the problem that we had on yesterday's show for the people listening on the radio, that they could actually hear the sound in between segments. So that's taken care of. Looking forward to a great show today. Stay tuned. I promise it will be a great show, or your money back. Guaranteed. Okay, and Sudbury weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently it is 12 degrees. Out there, partly cloudy at the moment. And today we can expect it to be mainly cloudy. Clearing this afternoon with a high of 25, humidex 28, so a little warm. Tonight, cloudy, rain beginning this evening, 15 to 25 millimeters, so quite a bit of rain beginning this evening. And then Thursday, rain ending in the morning, then clearing, and a high of 18. UV index will be 3 or moderate. That's important to know, I guess. Extended forecast, again, rain, 18 degrees tomorrow. Friday, a mix of sun and cloud, high of 23. Saturday, 40% chance of showers with a high of 25. Sunday, mix of sun and cloud with a high of 28. And then Monday, 30% chance of showers, high of 29. Tuesday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 26. So look at your satellite as of midnight last night. Shows some clearing over Greater Sudbury, but I'm sure those clouds have moved in by that time. And that's your weather, Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and more right after this. All right, quite a few people joining us this morning, as usual. And first to the YouTube party is Northern Hillbilly. Good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Marianne's joining us from Barrie. And liked and shared as usual. Good morning to you. And Monique. Good morning, Sudbury. Cool shade smiley emoji. And Judy, good morning to you. And Josiah, good morning. Hello, beautiful people. I believe that's looks like a kissing emoji, but my eyesight's not the greatest this morning, but we'll take it. And good morning, Nana. Blessings, everyone. Heart emoji, exclamation point. Good morning to you, Nana. And Monique, grand rising, heart emoji, exclamation point times 3. And Liette, good morning. Hand clap from Collingwood. Good morning to you, Liette. Hope everything is going well for you and your family in that beautiful town of Collingwood. And Marianne, love the video you put up on Collingwood. Oh, there you go. And I said beautiful Collingwood, not even seeing the video, but just knowing it's a beautiful, blessed area of our province. If you haven't been to Collingwood, I would suggest everyone just go there for a little vacay, even a day trip down and just drive around. You could, in the summer, you could check out close by Wasaga Beach and have a good old time. It's just a wonderful place. If it's winter or summer, lots to do. It's just very picturesque, beautiful area. Some people want to keep it a secret, so maybe I'm promoting it too much. Hazel, good morning. Prayer emoji, much needed, much appreciated. And Mike, good morning all. Thanks for being on, Mike. And Marianne, so Ford reported someone tried to steal his truck. And because he was affected personally, he wants castle law here. Could be. Was his truck literally, or, was it really almost stolen, or is it just, you never know with politics, right? But he wants castle law here. Interesting. Pat, good morning, people, with peace emoji, peace sign. Good morning to you, Pat. Thanks for being on. Disabled Kane. Okay. Every single time in history when there is mass immigration, inflation, loss of property, rise in crime, division, destruction of a sovereign nation, without fail, triple exclamation point. And maybe that is some of the reasons for the high crime statistics, and maybe the reporter kind of softening the headline a little bit. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Who knows? We'll see. Lorraine, funny how attitudes change when the problem affects them, eh? Talking about Doug Ford there. Castle law should honestly always come into play here. You break into my house, I will protect my family at all costs. I saw a video yesterday. I'm not sure how it popped up on my feed, but it was a gentleman And he had this strange look, I'm crazy kind of feel to his and his face was up close in the camera, and he goes, someone breaks in my home. Their body is basically evidence. So if no one knows anyone broke into my house, it's probably better for me, kind of thing. Meaning he was insinuating that he's going to take care of business and get rid of the problem without anyone even knowing. He's not going to report it to police because now he's going to end up in trouble somehow if he reports it, right? And what a strange world we live in when that's the case. Here's someone contemplating doing the worst thing possible because he's going to be in trouble if someone breaks into his house and the person injures themselves, or you try and protect yourself and harm the person. You're going to end up in jail. Like, that's really backwards to me. I just really never was a fan of that part of our law ever. It makes no sense. Someone, breaks into your house, tries to escape, ends up face down in your pool somehow, trips, bangs their head, and now you're liable for that person. Like, what's up with that? Anyways, makes no sense whatsoever. Yes, Collingwood is beautiful, a special place here. Nana doesn't believe that Tyler Clark is a true journalist. He's an opinionator and not a good one at that. And I believe you've had some interactions with Tyler Clark at some point, emailing back and forth. So you definitely have your opinion of his opinions, for sure. And Jerome, good morning all. First day on vacay, Cambridge bound. Lunch at the Flying Monkey in Barrie. Hey, you're right around Collingwood there, so you never know. You could do a little trip to Collingwood there as well. Speaking of Collingwood this morning, that's the only reason why I bring that up. And Marianne, okay, apparently so. He had security at his residence. That's Doug Ford, talking about his truck almost being stolen. And Vin, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Pierrette says Castle Law was in the Magna Carta, and we are common law nation, not Sharia law. Right? So Castle Law was part of the Magna Carta, which our nation was basically founded on that, the principle of that ideology in law. So anyways, yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if they actually bring that in. Jerome says canceled and open carry kind of stops home invasions. Sorry, concealed and open carry kind of stops home invasions. No security cameras in Montana. And I've always been an advocate for that. And people in Canada, I remember I lived in the United States for 2 years, came home, and I don't know if that's when I was exposed to people just kind of carrying around with them. They had them in their glove compartments. They had them in their homes. It was more of a thing. Less crime. Definitely less crime when more of the citizens are carrying concealed, and have they have a way to protect themselves on them at all times. There is less crime. It is as a statistic, as we're going to talk about Sudbury statistics this morning. Guy, journalist, LOL, you're an... Okay, is that yourself to me? I'm not sure if you're talking about myself. And that's, I believe, Guy, not Guy. Guy. Tomato. But I'm not sure who you're referring to or what you're referring to. But you're able to elaborate on what you had said. So, Brian, good morning to you. Disabled Kane, yeah, agreeing with Pierrette. Liette says Collingwood was named best place to live in Canada. It's truly a beautiful scenic gem to visit, something for everyone to enjoy. Lots of history and culture, heart emoji. For sure. So we got a couple of themes going on here in the show today. We got Collingwood. We have the right to bear arms, I guess, as a way to protect yourself, the way that laws are structured, and crime rates in the city of Sudbury. So A lot of C's in the themes today. Government breaks into your bank account. Thieves using illegal powers. So that happened very, recently, right? We've seen our own government getting into people's bank accounts, shutting them down. And people had no problem with that. I'm like, wow, wait till that happens to you one day. Wait till that happens to you, and you'll see whether you're okay with that or not. And yes, I'm glad to hear that, Liette. I'm still keeping my word, by the way, my promise I made to you. And Larry, good morning, my fellow Canadians. Larry, welcome aboard. And Noahide law. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah, that is true. So there's Sharia law, which comes from Muslim background. And then there's Noahide law, which is a form of a Jewish law, an ancient, older Jewish law. It's a sect of Judaism. And if you haven't looked at what that is, you should. It's interesting. And Monique, go back to sleep, Guy. You're totally blind and ignorant. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that was meant for me then. That's fine. Continue. You're welcome on the show and continue to comment. We really appreciate you being on. And this is a show where we talk about the news. I am not saying that I'm a journalist. I'm a talk show host. And the content that we talk about is the news. So, just in case you never listened before, that's what the show is all about. So your word is as good as mine as we discuss and try to understand the world around us through the lens of news and local news. We're a local show, regional, provincial, international news. And we discuss it. And people comment on it. And you're welcome to comment. So Noahide laws, also known as the 7 laws of Noah, are a set of 7 commandments that, according to Jewish tradition, were given to Noah and his descendants and therefore applicable to all of humanity. These laws are believed to be the foundation for a just and moral society. Here are the 7 Noahide laws, and so you give them there. So anyone who's interested in them, check them out. Denise has shared them. And if you're listening on the radio, all you have to do is come on the show later. If you're able to get on the live, you'll see them. Sometimes Facebook takes certain comments out. Not sure why they do that. It's Facebook people decide which comments stay, which comments go. That's why I put all comments up on the screen. Those that are more than 3 lines long, though, they get cut off because there's only room for 3 lines of comments on the show on the screen. So just a word for everybody. If you wanted to have your comments up for time in memoriam, then keep them to about 3 lines. Two lines and a bit here, as I can see with Marianne's comment. So apparently the Liberals defeated a motion to end gas cars by 2035. I say, don't buy them and don't comply, as if they have the right to tell us what to drive and what to buy. They are delusional, and we'll keep it at that. And Leah, that is communist, Lee. Lee says that is communist, and that is. You are right. And good morning, Lee. Thanks for being on. And Trevor, we're being replaced, period. That was on a comment from Disabled Kane when he was talking about the immigration policy that we have. It's very aggressive. And what are the results in every society when they have policies like that? Sharia, BC Canadian law coming near you soon. And that's Lee. See, for people that are not aware of any of these things, like I could not have been, I'm not all that aware that Sharia law could be a thing in Canada, and it's already kind of making its way and getting woven in many aspects. You wouldn't normally hear that. You won't hear that on local news per se, but we're able to unpack things and discuss things and take things a little further. And you'll never hear Albert Pike being discussed in any of the local news or news anywhere, but a lot of the people on the show dig a little deeper. And Northern Hillbilly saying Albert Pike predicted all of this. And so then someone can hear that and go, who's Albert Pike? And what did he predict? And I'm now going to look into that for myself, which that's the whole reason for this show. One of the reasons. And Vin, Canadian loans for $2.3 billion to be paid back by stolen, confiscated money from Russia. There you go. Hazel, got to run. No problem, Hazel. Good morning to you. Bless you all. Stay safe. Thanks for being on for when you were, Hazel. Appreciate it. Have a great day. And David, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. Oh, it was a loan to Ukraine. I got it. That's from Vin. A loan we'll never get back. Marianne. So Lee says you should do a show on medical assistance in dying. Get everyone to take on this suicide bill. We have done actually many shows on medical assistance in dying, and even the latest as of a year from now, where minors will be able to go to their doctors and say they're suffering from anxiety or depression, and they will assess the patient who's a minor and basically say, yeah, we think MAID is good for you, and not have to consult the parents whatsoever. And so the child or the minor, one day just doesn't come home, and parents are wondering what happened to their child, and they call the hospital and say, well, it's confidential information. We can't share that with you. What happened? And they took the procedure of MAID, and they're no longer with us now. That's the society we're coming to in about a year. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy already. It just that just takes it to another level for me, and it should for you. And if it doesn't, then that's okay, I guess. When employers can hire subsidized new Canadians, should it be considered replacement? I don't know. That's a great question, Jerome. And new Canadians are definitely subsidized. We saw on the show how the Canada's program for subsidization of new Canadians begins with, if a company puts out a job posting and they're not able to fill that job posting with anyone, then they can apply for subsidization for a new Canadian or a temporary worker to work in their establishment at a lower cost to them. And I heard that a lot of people are taking advantage of this. They're putting out ads and they're just not answering them. So people are applying for jobs and they're saying, oh, the jobs aren't even here. There is no job. They're like, well, there's an ad. Oh, that's somebody pretending that they're us. And then they don't fill the job, and then they apply for this subsidy, and then they get a temporary worker instead of a citizen, and they don't have to pay that worker as much because it's subsidized. Anyways, that's what we've shown on the show through different witnesses and people firsthand experience explaining that that's what's going on. And I, in the employment industry, have a lot of people coming to me saying the same thing. They've applied for the job or they've called and the employer says, oh no, there is no such job available, even though it's on Indeed or Canada Job Bank or whatever have you. Okay, so good morning, Sheila. Thanks for being on. I'm going to have to jump into some of our headlines here this morning. You guys feel free to continue to comment. I'll get your comments up on the screen. And we have a lot to say today, and I appreciate that because we should always keep ourselves informed on what's going on around us. So coming from our news aggregator here on Sudbury.news, which aggregates Sudbury.com, CBC, Sudbury, Sudbury Star. There's a glitch with CTV Northern Ontario at the moment. We're just working on that. Here is coming from Sudbury.com. Council maintains 4.8% water wastewater rate increase for now. Average annual tax levy increases of between approximately 3.2% and 4.4% are also in the city's long-range financial plan for the next 10 years. So tax increases. Anything new? Anyone surprised? Not me. It's coming. Everything is always going to be increasing in terms of taxes in the city until there is no more money to take from people. Then what are you going to do, right? You're taxed federally, provincially, municipally. Taxes always going up. And our wages staying pretty much the same. And what we can spend with our dollar, always less and less and less. Okay, so WSIB employees are on strike, 27 days on strike. If you weren't aware of that. This is interesting, coming from Sudbury.com. 50 proposed downtown projects will be on display during two public meetings regarding the downtown Sudbury master plan. And see, you just click read more and it goes right to the story. And this is from Sudbury.com staff. It was along with a huge ad just popped up there. So 50 ideas going to be on display downtown Sudbury. And Trevor, good morning to you. Sharing a link of the elbows up zombies who empty. Okay, so if you want to click on that link that has to do with the UN report, replacement migration, a UN report, because we're speaking of that today. That's come up in the comments. That's part of what we're talking about. The very aggressive policies for mass immigration to our country, the good, the bad, and the ugly with that. So there's a link that Trevor shared, so much appreciated. So 50 ideas will be on display during a public meeting on June 25th, centered around the downtown Sudbury master plan. Whether you're a resident, business owner, or simply passionate about downtown Sudbury, your voice matters, a city media release noted. It went on to say, let's work together to strengthen the vibrant heartbeat of Northern Ontario. The 50 ideas for downtown Sudbury will be on display via conceptual map, which people will be encouraged to review and comment on during the public meetings. 2 sessions are scheduled on June the 25th, and they are as follows. 1 to 3 p.m. in the foyer of Tom Davies Square. So that's June the 25th, 1 to 3 p.m., Tom Davies Square, looking at an interactive map of 50 ideas to help Sudbury's downtown be more vibrant. So that's 1 to 3 on 25th of June. Then 6 to 8 p.m. in the provincial boardroom C and D in the Tom Davies Square. So I'm sure if you went to the foyer at 6 p.m., they would probably be redirected to the boardroom C and D in the Tom Davies Square. The Downtown Sudbury Master Plan Review is currently in Phase 3 of 4, with final completion anticipated by the end of the year. The original plan was approved by City Council in 2012. That's a long time ago now. So that's what? 13 years ago? No, 10? Yeah, 13 years ago. No, yeah, 13 years ago. For more information on the Downtown Master Plan and the review process, you can go over to you.greatersudbury.ca. Over to you.greatersudbury.ca. That's over to you.greatersudbury.ca. If you want to learn more about this master plan they have for the downtown. And you can go downtown and you can participate and have your voice logged on a comment section of this interactive map. You can comment on their ideas. And if you want to also learn more about the downtown and some of the things going on there. There is a meeting going on. Tom Price and Bob Johnson will be getting together this Thursday to discuss the findings that they've found about, what's going on with the downtown. So they've sent out a press release on Friday, June the 13th. So Friday the 13th, they received some documentation believed to be an official response from the city of Sudbury. Remember, they were on the show and they said the city has not responded to any of their letters or, anything when they were trying to get a response from the city. So the city has responded 17 weeks after requesting, using social media and a lot of drama. They finally received some actual correspondence. So in answer to that, they'll be holding a meeting, a town hall meeting, the OTOCI, Our Town, Our City. Our Towns, Our City Institute. They're a grassroots organization designed to inform and engage the city's citizens. So they'll have a meeting June the 19th. That's this Thursday, tomorrow, 6 p.m., Grace Family Church, basement, corner of Jean and Burton in the Donovan. And they're going to be talking about how this information that they've accumulated seriously impacts everyone in Greater Sudbury and their futures. Our City, Our Town Institute, Our Towns, Our City Institute promises the evening will be very enlightening. Anyone and everyone is welcome until the venue reaches capacity. So that's a press release put out by Tom Price. And Bob Johnson will be there as well, answering your questions. They've invited myself to come and ask some questions from people and whatever. I don't know if my schedule will permit me to be able to go. I'm still trying to see if I'm able to. They've invited another reporter from the city as well to be able to be there and moderate, answer questions, ask questions, just kind of be there to, report on it. And then either myself or the reporter would then be able to go back and talk about the meeting, talk about the contents of the meeting. So we have that. I've also reached out to Mike Perrin, and I haven't read his response to my email yet. So I'm just doing this in real time. I sent him the ICLEI report. So that's the UN's policies for all the municipalities to follow their 17 sustainable goals, basically, and basically just give the cities their own policies that the cities don't have to think for themselves. They just basically sign off and voila, the UN has their policies in all the municipalities because there's no work for the councillors to do any statistical investigation or anything. The UN does it all for you and they say, we've done the statistics, here's what's going on, this is what you need to do, sign here. And it's ICLEI, ICLEI is the acronym of the initiative from the UN. So I've sent him all of the information on that, which he said he was not aware of. And he basically said, thanks, he'll review it this weekend. So that's great. Thank you very much, Mike, for your response. Ward 5 councillor here in Greater City of Sudbury. Any other councillors who want that information, I'll just encourage Mike to pass it along to them as well. And yeah, you can just forward that email to all councillors and the mayor. If they're not aware of that's where their policies are coming from, they'll know the root of where the initiatives are coming from originally, and maybe some things you need to be aware of while you're passing them in our council chambers, as they do come from unelected officials and people with agendas. We know that. So they even have their own agendas, Agenda 21, Agenda 30, they just have their own agendas. They come right out and publish them, and you can read them on the UN's website. So do we want them here in our city? That's up for our counselors to at least be aware it exists and look into it on our behalfs. And so here's the headline from Sudbury.com as we talk about crime in the city and epidemics here and there, and we report on crime and shooting and abductions and everything almost on a daily basis on the show, and scratching our heads how Sudbury has come to this point. Tyler Clark from Sudbury.com says overall crime is down 4% in Greater Sudbury. After violent crime hit a record high in 2023, both violent and property offenses decreased by a combined 4% in 2024, including a 10% drop in violent offenses. That is the headline and the sub-headline from Tyler Clark. So we read that, and then we just kind of go down a little bit in the story, like kind of after what most people just read as they glance it and then they're done reading. Despite the overall drop in violent crime, there were exceptions within the wide sweeping category, which includes homicide, attempted murder, sexual violations, deprivation of freedom, criminal harassment, threats, robbery, and assault. So somehow, those categories are up, but the headline says overall violent crime is down. But that's because of the way they categorize things. So despite the overall drop in violent crime, there were some exceptions within the wide sweeping category, which includes homicide, attempted murder, sexual violence, deprivation of freedom, criminal harassment, threats, robbery, and assault. Attempted murder was up by 10%. Here comes the real story. So if I had these statistics, my headline would look a little bit different than Tyler Clark's. Attempted murder was up 10%, deprivation of freedom violations, including kidnapping. So if you're talking about human trafficking here, forcible confinement, kidnapping, forcible confinement was up 20%. Remember, we hit a record high in violent crimes in 2023, but in 2024, the headline says overall violent crime is down as much as 10%. But as you read here, as you unpack the story, is what we do on this show. So hopefully Guy is still watching, talking about the news. Here's a reporter you would call a real journalist, right? So we're just kind of looking at it and unpacking it. The headline looks really nice. Violent crime is down. But we say attempted murder is up 10%, deprivation of freedom, including kidnapping, forcible confinement, like human trafficking, was up 20%. Other sexual offenses, including sexual interference, which was sexual touching of a person younger than 16, distribution of intimate images, exploitation, incest, luring a child via computer, and voyeurism, was up almost 9%. Robbery was up 22%, right? So all of these crimes were up that much. But this is how the numbers come down. Assaults were down almost 10%, and reported sexual assaults decreased by 14%. Because they're all lumped in together, they bring the overall percentage down somehow? I don't know. So the Greater Sudbury Police Statistics Report flagged the sexual assault decrease to cite the Project Champion as a success story. The 4-year initiative was completed in 2023, created a sustainable process for reviewing sexual assault investigations, and enhanced report checking and comprehensive training for frontline members. So in 2024, there were a decrease in homicides, right? So it went from 5 to 3. So, that's, again, we had a record year of violent crime in 2023. So, and it's been increasing for years and years and years since amalgamation. It just increases every year, increases, until the point where we have the most we've ever had in 2023. So eventually you're going to get a little plateau with some of the crimes, That's my take on it. So we went from 5 to 3. So there were 3 homicides in 2024. There were 5 in 2023. And 12 recorded in 2022 during the pandemic. Last year's homicides, including a fatal stabbing, 2 fatal stabbings, and a body that was found in Bell Park last summer with injuries not believed to be self-inflicted. So I believe, what are we up to already this year? It seems like we're already past that this year. Last year saw a 3% decrease in intimate partner violence. So there's a little bit more of a decrease, bringing the overall statistics down. But there's a lot of... So sure, the murders are down by 2 people. But at the same time, attempted murder was up 10%, right? So if those people would have been a little more accurate on trying to do what they were trying to do, that number would go up for homicides. And kidnapping is up 20%. It's like, that should raise red flags. That would be my headline. Kidnapping up 20% in the greater city of Sudbury. And then go on to unpack all the other statistics, right? But again, after all we read, this is the statistics that made the headline. Overall crime down 4% in greater city of Sudbury. And the sub-headline, after violent crime hit a record high of in 2023, both violent and property offenses decreased by a combined 4%. Including a 10% drop in violent offenses. So that doesn't sound like the article we just read. So again, it's just, and as a reporter, you have the freedom to be able to do that. That's what you can do as a reporter. And you need to be aware of the news headlines you read each and every day. You know, now things have gotten to the point where you have what's called clickbait on the internet, right? So you have these headlines that are so out of the, ordinary, it makes you click. It's like, what? How could that be? You click on it and it's like, it's nothing like it says. So be aware, headlines and the actual report, you have to read the whole thing. Unfortunately, there's work involved if you really want to know what's really going on. That's all the time we got for the show today. Thanks for being with us. We really appreciate you. We're grateful that we have all of the technology working. So hopefully we'll be back on time tomorrow on the same platforms, God willing. And remember to stay aware, look into things, and like and share. Take care. Have a great Wednesday today, hump day in the week. And stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.